Hey guys, so today I'm just going to be doing like more of a little freeform video where I go through the Kebos Lowlands poll blog. As it's coming up in the next few days, I kind of wanted to get my whereabouts on what we're looking at and fill you guys in on a couple of the cool things I find interesting in the new update coming up on the 10th. If we start looking at it right now, obviously, I'll link this down in the description if you guys want to check it out yourself. It's pretty much just when the poll came out for Kebos and everyone was voting and all that stuff, it's kind of a collection of all the changes and the actual numbers and figures that's going to be implemented into the game once the release comes out. If you take a look at the page right away, you see you got your change log. This is all the things that this thing is constantly being updated as people talk about different values and things like that. Because when we vote on a poll, we vote for like the content. We don't vote for the actual, sometimes we do, but no, most of them we don't vote for the actual values, numbers, all that jargon. So this is kind of like a little collection of that kind of stuff. We want to get right into it. First off, we got the big farming guild. Then that's like one of the largest updates that's going to come to the whole skill itself. We've got a whole bunch of new patches, a whole bunch of new activities to do with the farming skill. It's a whole bunch cool stuff that everyone's going to get to play a part of because their new methodology, I guess, for this whole like guild system, right? You have like the woodcutting guild, you have to get in at 60. Or the fishing guild, I believe it's like 62 or something along those lines. I'm not sure exactly, but it's been pretty stagnant on what you have to have in order to get inside the farming guild. In this case, though, there's actually 3 different tiers. You're going to have different levels or different requirements based on what level you have, and it's going to allow you to get access to some of the content and build up to even more content in the future. It's kind of a cool progression system. So if you look at the first tier, we got our 45 farming, pretty low level as far as guilds are concerned, but I think that's what they wanted to do. They want everyone to have a piece of the puzzle. They want everyone to, be able to take part in this activity. And a whole bunch comes with this, actually. Most notably, aside from like, a bank and all that other seed shop, gardener supplies, most notably though is the cactus patch right here. This is huge, actually. This is very huge. The cactus patch lets people grow potato cactus, and it's actually pretty crazy. It allows people to gain a whole bunch of secondaries for their herblore training and stuff like that. There's also in here, I'm not seeing it exactly, but I know for a fact there is a patch that lets you grow snape grass, which is pretty dope. That's actually really dope. But I'll get more into like the new patches and stuff when it comes down to the new patches section. Second tier, you're looking at some of the cool new updates that we get with the Hespiori patch, or a tree patch. Well, you have 3 patches just like everything else, but you have a Hespiori patch, which is the new demi-boss. It actually grows underground. They didn't reveal a whole bunch of what's actually going on down there. They're hiding a little bit from us, as they do. But the Hespiori patch is going to be the new demi-boss you can grow, and it's going to have a whole bunch of rewards, and I think there's more information when I get to the new patches section, as it says, as well as the Anima patch, another new patch which gives worldwide effects to all your patches across Gielinor, which is pretty dope. You get a tool leprechaun, same old. The highest tier, tier 3, the 85 farming requirement, is actually a lot of cool stuff. Like, you have your fruit patch, you have a spirit tree patch, but here's where things get interesting. You have a redwood patch and a Celestris patch? I want to say that's how you pronounce it, but who knows until they actually say it on stream, and then people will go like, oh, I thought it was, never mind. The Celestris patch is going to be the one where you grow your own battle staff. That's actually a requirement for the achievement diary, the elite. So the bark or whatever you get from it, I'm assuming it's bark or some whatever branches, you're going to be able to fletch into battle staffs with 40 fletching, which is pretty cool, as well as a giant redwood patch that they showed off in the last Q&A, which was really cool. It had this it has like the full thing you see in the woodcutting guild from the woodcutting guild down there in Hosidius house. You can see the big redwood with its ladders coming up in the big like top section where you stand and cut all the different sides. It's pretty cool. Let's look at what else. We got farming contract. Now, this is what I was talking about when I mentioned that there are new activities for the farming skill to be interacted with. It's actually really cool. So there's the farming guild, like the farming contracts, you'll be able to find a chief contractor inside the guild, and he's going to give you, I called it jokingly when I was describing it to one of my friends as Slayer tasks for farming, which they're not really. I mean, it's not as a whole skill as much as it is just a cool activity. But essentially, he'll say, grow a certain crop. You go into the farming guild, you find whatever patch you need to use to grow said crop, And then you do, and then when you bring it back, he'll give you rewards, typically seed boxes, which are going to have a cool bunch of like assorted seeds for you to earn. It's kind of a cool activity to interact with the skill in a different way, as well as get use out of those seeds that may be sitting in your bank that you haven't touched in years. It's interesting. Here we go. Here's the big boy. The new patches for the Farming Guild. The Hespeori. Let's read in a little. Try 65 farming to fight in the first place. And he's going to have some cool rewards, including the White Lily right here. Now, that's a cool seed. I read about it's more in here. You can see it's pretty much a patch that protects all of the local allotments wherever you plant it. It's a flower. So you'd plant it like in the flower, like at Draenor. A flower patch at like, the Draenor patch above the cabbages. And it would protect both the allotments next to it. So your watermelons, your other, whatever you're growing over there, good XP, pretty good system. You don't have to pay or put, scarecrows in to do that, which is pretty dope. And here's the big one, the unique. All bosses got to have a unique nowadays, don't you know? But the unique for the Hespeori is what's called the bottomless compost bucket right here. And it can hold 10,000 compost of any kind. Now, that means that you're going to only have to bring one compost bucket when you're doing all your herb runs, which is going to save a ton of inventory space when you're going to the tool leprechaun to note all your herbs and doing that sort of thing. Really cool, really good idea, awesome implications. Now, there is a couple side effects to it. Like, obviously, they're not going to give you free compost. They're not going to give you free, free inventory spaces. So what it is that in order to get one of these 10,000 charges, right? It works on a charge system. In order to get one of these 10,000 charges, you have to put 2 of that associated compost in it. If you're using regular compost, you put 2 compost in, that's 1 compost charge. 2 super compost, 2 ultra compost, that kind of stuff. And to a max of 10,000 charges, which would mean 20,000 of that compost. So you are sacrificing. You have to use double the compost during your runs, but you save on all the inventory slots you would have been using in order to put compost on your seeds, which is pretty cool in my opinion. It's good balance of new unique content that saves time and makes more quality of life systems while also coming at a cost for those people who want that quality of life. It's pretty cool. Here we get into the anima patch. Now these are cool, and this was one of the things I had a couple questions on that I'm still wondering when they'll be answered, because there are a few things I'm concerned about here. If we look at the seeds though, it's essentially a patch that when fully grown, the plant that grows there will give worldwide effects to every patch that you have in Gielinor, which is pretty dope. If we look at the Atlas seed, when it's planted, it provides increased yield to all other patches in the game. Now that means your herb patches are going to yield more, which means you're going to get more value out of each of your seeds that you plant. This is going to be great for people who are grinding those herb runs for money, and it might affect the price of herbs a little bit, but we'll have to wait and see on all that stuff, because that's all speculation. But it's going to be cool, definitely, and it's going to be very, very value efficient. Now, if we look at the Lasor seeds, when they're planted, this will decrease the disease chance for all patches in the game. And now that goes hand in hand with the compost things, right? Obviously, you put compost on your seeds to make sure that they don't die when they're growing, right? Obviously, you don't want to waste your money buying some seeds to plant them in order to have them just die on you halfway through the growth. So this seed will but increase the chance that your seeds make it to fully grown stages, which is pretty dope, which means the mechanics of it is pretty much that every time the seed goes through a growth stage, there is a chance for the seed to die, right? And if it checks that box, then bam, your seed's dead and it stops growing. If it doesn't, it keeps growing to the next stage. So this is going to directly affect that chance, that roll on whether or not the plant dies. So then we have the last seed, and this is where my questions get a little bit it starts to muddle it a little bit, because this one says it increases the speed at which other patches growth by providing a chance to skip growth stages. Now that's pretty interesting how they decided to do that. So instead of growing and then hitting the growth stage and then rolling if it's diseased and moving on, it's going to skip that whole thing entirely. It's going to skip a whole growth stage. However, if you think about that a little bit, that's going to directly affect the disease chance, because now that you're skipping the growth stages, and that's when it's rolled, whether or not the disease takes the plant and kills it, if you're skipping that, there's no chance for that roll in the first place, meaning you're skipping that roll entirely, meaning there's direct decrease in the disease chance of all your patches while also increasing the speed. So this one, this Chronos seed is kind of like a 2-in-1, depending on how we obviously don't know how the numbers work exactly, right? We don't know the chances, whether this one's obviously probably should be, in my opinion, a bigger chance to reduce the disease chance than this one's indirect disease chance avoidance, right? That would be the best way to handle it, but for right now, based on just what we can see, this one kind of gets the effects of its own and the Lasor seed, which is, I don't know about that, but we'll see. So let's look at some more patches. We got, here we go. Here's the battle stabs I was talking about. So yeah, pretty much it works just like I said. It works just like a fruit tree, 16-hour growth cycle. And what it does is you get wood. There it is. It says it right there. You get Celestris wood. You get the Celestris wood afterwards, and that will allow you to fletch those that wood into battle staves at 40 fletching, which is pretty cool. Next, the redwood tree, like I said, big redwood tree works just like the redwoods in the woodcutting guild. You cut it down, and it's a ton of XP. And also, during the Q&A, they confirmed that there's a little deposit box right outside the redwoods. So if you do want to bank your redwoods for that efficient fire making XP, you can if you wish to do so, which is pretty cool. Large compost bin, so pretty much there's also going to be a compost bin in the tier 45 area that has double the capacity of a regular compost bin. So all you Iron Men farming your compost, big old spot for you to get some extra. Pretty cool. Existing patch improvements. So along with all these new patches, these new unique things, they are adding a whole bunch of updates to existing patches, and adding some more plants for you to play with around those patches. We have the dragon fruit tree. Pretty cool. I think this is one of the most needed updates as far as those minute things that someone's really passionate about, and it allows people to finally do something that has been tedious since old school started. The dragon fruit tree, it requires 81 farming. It grows just like any other tree. It gives you 17,000 XP for checking its health. That's crazy. That's very crazy. That's a lot. But it also has these dragon fruit, these as it were. They're just a little fruit like you would get from the fruit stalls in Zaya, but they heal 10 points when you eat them, and you can bake them at 73 cooking into a pie. And this pie, as most pies do, are a boost pie. And finally, we have a fletching boost. This is going to boost your fletching by 4 points. Pretty unique, pretty cool idea, a useful thing. Now I'm just waiting for my rune crafting boost for an elemental pie. In addition to the stat boosting food, you can combine the 10 of these dragon fruits into a little vial. That's going to be the stored dragon's breath, this is what I was talking about with this skipping a very tedious activity that's been in the game for a while. And what it does is it'll fully charge your dragonfire shields and similar shields. You don't have to use Noomlight for the wyvern shield. I'm not certain. I guess there probably is one for the skeletal visage shield, but I'm not rich enough to have one of those, so I wouldn't know. But no, it'll fully charge your dragonfire, your shields that you would have to charge with, Dragon's Breath or Noomlight or whatever the skeletal wyvern or the skeletal shield does. Pretty cool. Good idea. Very quick, meaning you can trade your DFS to your buddies, or you can do those super tanky builds that shoot people with the dragonfire blast from the dragonfire shield. Pretty unique. Pretty cool idea. I like it. So this is the white lily. Next is the white lily I was talking about earlier. It's a flower patch that you plant it, and it will protect all of the crops adjacent allotment patches. So it'll pretty much protect your potatoes, your melons, that kind of stuff. Pretty cool. Good idea. Potato cactus, like I said, it grows the potato cactus. You can so these are harvestable. It's pretty unique. So they take 70 minutes to grow, and then you can harvest off of them, right? It's really cool, and you can get. They mentioned in the Q&A how they wanted to make it so that Iron Men in particular, or any account, can reliably get potato cacti without having to run around and collect them, pick them up manually. It's pretty lame to be running around Calphite Cave picking up potato cactus. It's not the best way to do it. However, they do note here, now this is the first time I've seen this, with the introduction of the cacti seeds, they're going to remove the potato cactus from Nightmare Zone. Now, they've been talking about removing stuff from Nightmare Zone for a while, a long time. And this would finally be they're taking action. They found some content, they put it in the game, they're going to start taking stuff out of Nightmare Zone. Because as they've said many times, Nightmare Zone, to them, is an EXP method. It's not a money-making method. It shouldn't garner any amount of profit in their eyes, or maybe very little in their eyes. It should be about getting the XP, grinding it, getting your levels up. So this is what they're kind of doing with that. And they're doing the same thing with snape grass. So you're going to be able to grow these snape grass seeds in allotment patches. So this is actually really cool because you can grow your snape grass in the allotment and protect it with your white lily. Now that's pretty sick. I like that a lot, actually. Because, you know, like saying, you know, growing melons, I guess, is a good XP method for people who are just grinding XP constantly. But, I mean, this is a real use. This is a big use for it, is growing snape grass, especially on those iron men. So, once again, snape grass will be removed from Nightmare Zone should this take effect. Pretty cool. Now, here's the big boy. That's the farming guild. You know, lots of cool stuff. A few last notes on that. It's going to be very, very active, and I do really like the model that they're going with this tiered development structure. It's super cool, and the idea of the farming contracts is very unique, and I think it's a way better way of interacting with the skill than just doing tree runs every 8 hours or 16 hours or whatever you do. So anyways, let's get on with it. So now we're looking at Brimstone. This is the new big Slayer update that people have been chomping at the bit for. People have been grinding for since it was announced. First of all, there's a new big Slayer Master. She is her unique kind of niche is, well, she's not like high end, super high end. She's actually below Neve in requirements. You only need 75 combat to get tasks from her, but she fits this niche of she assigns area specific tasks, and what that means is that instead of saying like Neve would and say, hey, go kill 250 abyssal demons or whatever the task is, she'll say go kill X amount of abyssal demons in the Slayer cave. She'll like assign specific areas that you have to kill your Slayer tasks in, and for the trade-off of that being slightly more tedious or slightly more, the idea is to, like, you know, make more content active, right? And not every task, like, look at aberrant specters. If you look at the math of it, killing the aberrant, or the whatever the deviant specters are in the catacombs, their defense levels just make it completely inefficient to do, or whatever, you know, that kind of stuff. So obviously there's a most efficient place to do most of your Slayer tasks, and this is kind of allowing people to interact with different content, which is really, it brings a little bit of breath of fresh air into the skill, even though we are playing Slayerscape and it's the most developed skill in the game. But it's unique. But with that trade-off of having to do it in specific areas, you're going to get a lot of points. You get 18 points per task. That's crazy. You only get 12 from Neve. And that even goes up if you have the Elite Diary for the new Karun thing. When I'll get to that, it's at the bottom of this whole poll blog. You'll get that up to 20 points. That's crazy. That's like 5 off of the Wilderness tasks, which are supposed to be the point getters. So this is really cool idea. She's also got, this is cool. This is this cool thing you have with these Slayer task monsters. They're gonna have, similar to how the rare drop table, right? The Dragon Stones, the Emeralds, that kind of stuff. Monsters on Konar Slayer tasks are gonna have a different unique drop table where they'll drop like supplies. If you ever played Deadman mode recently, they had the supply drops from monsters, right? And this is going to be kind of along those lines, where monsters are going to have a shared drop table with cool supplies on it, you know, like prayer potions, food, things of, it says here that they will, things that increase your profits slightly, as well as food to sustain your task, as well as a rare unique, the one-handed tradable Dragon Hosta. Now this thing I am lovingly calling the poor man's AGS. Because it has a very unique special attack, which is pretty dang cool. Let me get into it. So this thing right here, Unleash. Oh, I can't highlight it. It drags the picture. Unleash, it'll use whatever special attack energy you have left, which is completely unique. If you have 5% special attack, it'll use 5% special attack. If you have 100% special attack, it uses 100% special attack. It uses all of it. And the cool thing is for every 5% that you use, you're going to get a 5% accuracy buff and a 2.5% damage buff, which is crazy. So it means at 100% you're getting, 100% damage and 50%, or 100% accuracy and 50% damage, which is really cool. In the case of, there was a couple like numbers I saw floating around. If you use 100% spec in like max melee, I'm not sure if that includes the new gloves that I'll get to in a second, but Supposedly it can hit upwards of a 75, which is really cool, because that's why I'm calling it the poor man's AGS, because there are going to be some sick skewers out there of people poking you with the big dragon Hasta, or a clan of people with them going to rev caves and just, spearing dudes. It's going to be cool. It's going to be cool. We go down a little more. Oh, here you go. So let me before I get into this item, I want to talk a little bit more about the mountain itself, the Slayer dungeon that's being added itself. It's a sulfur volcano, and so you're gonna have like blue lava essentially. It's a cool idea, very cool idea. But with most volcanoes, it's very hot, and in the case of this volcano, you're gonna have to wear some boots to protect your feetsies when you're walking around the volcano. So you have a couple options. You can buy this new item right here that's being displayed. It's called the Boots Stone. It works just like it's kind of exactly like buying a face mask, or buying earmuffs, or buying those items from a Slayer Master. You pay 200 coins, you get protection from something or an area. Right, this is what it is. It's not supposed to be some best in slot item. It's not supposed to be good. It has the same stats as insulated boots for rune dragons, and it gives you protection from the volcano. It's simple enough. So let's look at the monsters. Now that I've talked about the volcano a little bit, let's get into the monsters now. Sulfur lizards. They're gonna be the low level Slayer task, requiring 44 Slayer. Which actually, when you think about it, isn't that low? That's like 6 levels off of Blood Velds. I mean, this is some higher end content, I'd say. The sulfur lizards are going to be running around, skittering around the base of the Slayer dungeon. Not gonna have much loot. Pretty much, it's gonna be your Vanaka task, right? You're gonna run to the bottom of Edgeville, be like, oh, kill sulfur lizards, and you're gonna have people going, where the hell are sulfur lizards? These things are not meant to be, camped in any regard. But it's cool. It's cool. Oh, it says here it works as a lizard task. Oh, that's really cool. That's actually really cool. That means you can slay these instead of desert lizards. That's very cool, actually, because desert lizards are one of the worst tasks in the game, in my opinion, for low levels. Going to the desert is not fun for low levels, getting there in the first place. Using the ice coolers is not a fun interactive thing, but whatever. This is cool. This is very cool, actually. So that's actually a really unique alternative, and I like that. I take back what I said about you sulfur lizards. You guys are pretty cool. I didn't mean to make you look like you were less than what you were, man. You're a good guy. All right, let's look at the worms. The worms are 62 Slayer. That puts them right around the realm of, I believe, the wyverns on Fossil Island. Not the ancient wyvern, of course, but the regular wyverns, I believe, are down there in that area-ish. So these are actually pretty unique. They are going to have, they mentioned wanting to change some of the raids loots. They want to take it off of the raids table because they were pretty much just troll drops, in all honesty. It's like you do a raid and you get a dragon throne axis, you feel real bad. You get a dragon sword, you feel real bad. Harpoon a little better, but still pretty bad. But this is where they're moving some of them. So they're going to be assigned by Duradel, Neve, Chaladar, and Konar, which cool stuff. That means they're reasonable content. These are going to be like run-of-the-mill tasks that you just do. You keep running. When you're grinding Slayer, you just do them. They have a chance though to drop. They're going to get the dragon sword and the harpoon on their drop tables as like very rare drops. And they mentioned on the Q&A, the last Q&A, I can link that. I've mentioned it like 20 times. I probably should link that in the description. I'll do that. During the Q&A, they mentioned that off task, these drops are gonna be a lot rarer than like their normal on task drop rate. So if you're camping these on task and you're getting the task of worms, you're gonna see some drops. You're gonna see some good stuff. They're trying to maintain the value a little bit so that people don't have their dragon harpoons crash, because those things are a little bit expensive actually. They're upwards of like 7 mil or 6 mil. They're relatively expensive. They don't want to crash those completely, make them the price of like dragon plate skirts. Yeah, so that's what they're doing with those guys. Pretty cool idea. And for those people who are raiders and are like, shaking in your seats right now wondering, is this going to affect my chance of getting a pet? No, they reworked the drop table a little bit. They said they'll release the numbers. Your chance of getting a T-bow are the same. Your chances to get the pet are the same. So, let's look at the next one, the Drakes. Now, these are cool. This is where you start to get into the big uniques, the really cool ones that I'm super excited about. Drakes are these cool, like, dragon-looking things, but the idea is that the dragonkin, they're a failed experiment of the dragonkin, so they remove the wings, and they have these giant, like, slivers in their back where the wings should be, just, like, you know, oozing out. It's really cool idea, really cool concept. But these guys, none of the drop tables are like regular items, so I can't tell you what if they're good to camp or not yet. But the idea is that they drop these boot uniques. You can upgrade your boots. So, you know, those, like, you know, really crappy boots I just mentioned, the boots of stone, you know, the insulated boots. Yeah, if you get the Drake Claw, you can combine them with the boots of stone to make these really, dude, super ballin' hybrid boots. Like, look at these stats. These are going to be every tri-brid's dream when they're PKing out there. It's going to be dope. Who knows how expensive they're going to be. Maybe people won't even bring them because they're too expensive. But they are cool as heck, and I like them a lot. So then, now, if you thought I liked those boots of brimstone, there have been so many jokes and cool ideas made around these here boots right here. I'm going to have to show an image. I'll put one up. It's insane how good these things look. These are, we call them the Blessed Jays in our little group. They are essentially, I want you to imagine this, you know, close your eyes, imagine this. Primordial boots, but blue, with a Saradomin star on the tip, and golden wings. Now, if that doesn't scream fashionscape, I don't know what does. These things are going to be, they're Saradomin items, they're an upgrade to the Holy Sandals, they're not going to be used much, but I'm sure as hell going to be wearing them whenever I'm trying to flex on some dudes. They look so good. Let's keep it going. I can't focus on those too much, or you'll get me reminiscing. Let's look at the Hydra. Now this is the big boy. This is the big coup de grace. Like, this is the update that people are hyped for. These Hydras require 95 Slayer to kill. That puts them above Smoke Devils as the highest requirement Slayer task. 95 Slayer to kill these dudes. And they are going to be tough, I assure you. They're going to be Slayer monsters, obviously. You're going to be able to kill multiple all the time, but they are going to be cool, and they're going to have some mechanics. So here it is right here. They are exclusively assigned by Konar in the mountain. Mount Korum or something. The pronunciations are going to get me every time. But they are exclusively assigned by Konar, and they use both range and magic attacks. They have a chance, though, to drop. So you know how the bludgeon works, right? The bludgeon, you get unsired, you get your bludgeon pieces. They're untradeable until you combine them all. That's just exactly how these drops are going to work. The Eye of the Hydra, the Fang of the Eye of the Hydra, the Fang of the Hydra, and the Heart of the Hydra. And the Hydra Tail, which is a different drop. But the three pieces right here, the Eye, the Fang, the Heart, are going to be combined to make this thing right here, the Brimstone Ring. And now, there's mixed feelings about this. Some people are saying that they'd prefer just the double strength bonus from the Berserker Ring. But personally, I think this thing is disgusting. I think this thing is front-loaded, the most front-loaded item I've seen released in a long time. Look at these numbers. This is literally, so, you know the Fremnik rings? You know, Berserker, Archer, Warrior, Seers? Yeah, tape those together without imbues, of course, and then this is what you get. This is what you get, just stat-wise. It has the melee bonuses of the Warrior ring. It has the magic bonus of the Seers ring and the range bonus of the Archer ring. And then it has defense bonuses to match on top of it, as well as the strength bonus of the Berserker. You can't imbue this thing, which is very good to hear, because otherwise this would be best in slot everywhere. But this thing is sick. It is a hybrid ring that lets you, it's going to be used in a whole bunch of places. People are going to bring it to DKs, have all the rings there. People are going to bring it to raids, so they don't have to camp Berserker. Or I've heard some people say they're going to camp Berserker anyways, just because of the higher max hit. It's a whole bunch. It's a whole bunch of cool stuff. And I can't wait to see the types of, like the math behind it when people start running these numbers. But on top of all these boosted ass stats, you're going to get some cool effects. This is the special effect of the Brimstone Ring, and it's a cool idea. As you guys may know, magic defense has been a topic of debate for a long time in the OSRS community, saying how it's too strong, it's way broken, it doesn't make any sense why it's calculated that way. But whatever. Here's something that will help you combat that if you don't think magic defense is fair. The Brimstone Ring is going to have a 25% chance every time you cast an offensive spell. every time you cast your Ice Barrage, every time you cast your Trident Charge, every time you cast your Flame Wave, you're going to have a 25% chance to ignore 10% of your opponent's magic defense, meaning you're going to be more likely to hit, which is really, really cool. And it's a really dope effect. Like, I'm going to wear this thing at raids for that alone when I'm sitting on that mage hand, just slapping it with my trident. That kind of thing, right? It's going to be cool as heck. So then, aside from the ring, which I think is super strong, you have, this is kind of more of one of those, I call it a troll drop. Maybe that's too harsh. I don't see a use for it yet, but I have been surprised in the past, and I'm not exactly the biggest expert on the subject. This is the Hydra Tail, which you're going to be able to combine with your Dragonstone Necklace from Vorkath and your Bone Crusher from the Moritania Hard. We all know the Bone Crusher. We all love the Bone Crusher. Gets you your prayer XP, gets you your prey points back at the Catacombs. Really cool item. But the Bone Crusher Necklace is going to combine it with the Dragon Bone Necklace from Vorkath, which is the best in slot prayer necklace, into this Bone Crusher Necklace, which is going to have the effect of the Bone Crusher as well as the effect of the Dragon Bone, while also giving best in slot prayer bonus. So, is it a Z-Knight? Not really. It's really not, but maybe someone can find a use for it somewhere. Maybe it's going to be supremely AFK when you're killing Hellhounds in the Catacombs. It's going to be cool. So, that's pretty much the Hydra's. And then, as well as, again, we don't know the regular drop table for these basic Hydras, so we can't say if they're extremely good yet or not. But from this ring alone, I think they're pretty dang good looking. But let's look at the big boy. I know I've said big boy about 15 times, and I'm sorry. This is the Alchemical Hydra. This is the champion. This is the new Slayer boss that people are going to be sitting at trying to figure out for the first who knows how long after release. This guy looks cool. There's a whole bunch of Twitter videos, there's a whole bunch of spoiled content looking into what this thing looks like, and it looks dope. It's really cool, and I can't wait to try my hand at fighting this thing. But if we're looking at its drops, it's making a statement. It's making a big statement. First of all, you're going to have the first tier 80 piece of equipment. And I know that's scary. Calm down. It's very scary to hear tier 80 come out of someone's mouth when it comes to OSRS. But I think this is the best way they could have done it. I think they knocked it out of the park with the design of this item. So, first of all, the Alchemical Hydra is going to drop this thing called Hydra Leather. This is... It's supposedly, like, I guess they're more of a broken pair of this ferocious gloves, and that's going to be tradable. You're going to be able to sell that on the GE, buy it on the GE for exorbitant amounts of prices on day one. Let's get that out of the way. This is going to be the moneymaker for people camping Alchemical day one. You're going to be able to trade that. You're going to be able to, make money off of it. But in order to actually get the gloves, and in order to put those on your hands and get the benefits, you have to take them to Erdan in the Myths Guild. Now, that doesn't sound like crazy until you realize, obviously that means you have to complete Dragon Slayer 2, which means you obviously have to get 200 quest points, which means, and everyone was fearing this when they announced that they were making, new quote-unquote best-in-slot melee gloves. Well, they are best-in-slot melee gloves, but best-in-slot gloves, that people were going to get devalued to quest, because Barrows gloves, obviously the whole point of it is to get people questing and give you a reward for it. These are still that. You have to do 200 quest points. You have to complete arguably the hardest quest in the game. Arguably one of the best quests in the game, in my opinion. But let's look at the stats of these things. First of all, you have to have 80 attack and defense to equip. Tier 80. Big shock that RuneScape's getting some, or OSRS is getting some tier 80 stuff. Cool stuff. I like it. Some people really don't. That's fair. But let's look at the stats of these guys. They give 16 to all of your melee attack bonuses. That's up from 12 on the Barrows gloves. So that's like what, a 30% increase, 33% increase in accuracy, just from the like from comparative to gloves. That's pretty cool. That's a lot. That's a big difference. Obviously, you get minus 16 for magic and range. So you're not going to be wearing these while shooting your Dragon Hunter crossbow. It's not going to happen. That's not going to work. But they also give plus 14 melee strength bonus compared to plus 12 from the Barrows gloves. That's a max hit in a lot of situations. So these things are disgustingly strong, and I cannot wait to see what people are doing with them. However, though, they do have 0 in all the defense bonuses, so you're going to be a little squishier, but the DPS is going to be legit. Now, Ferocious Gloves, that alone, if they told us that the Alchemical Hydra was dropping these guys and these guys only, we would be happy as can be. We'd be like, dang, I'm still camping it. I want those gloves. But that's not where it stops. This Hydra is the gift that keeps on giving. Let's look at this lance. This is the Dragon Hunter lance. The Hydra is going to drop a claw that you're going to attach to your Zamorakian Hasta to make this bad boy. And let me tell you, it looks sick. First of all, this thing is a monster. It has almost the same stats as the Zamorakian Hasta flat, with a -4 to strength bonus. So you're not going to have as big of a max hit on most monsters, but it pays for that lack of strength bonus in spades with its special effect. This thing has a 20%, 20, you didn't hear me wrong, not 2, not 10, 20% accuracy and damage buff against dragon creatures. And, as they have confirmed, all creatures in this volcano count as dragonkin creatures, so they will be affected by it. This thing is a menace. This thing is going to change a lot of content in the game. People are going to be out there meleeing Vorkath. Rune dragons, 20% more. Like, you're just going to be slapping them. It's going to be just delicious. It's already one of the best things to do in an alt. You're going to be slapping these rune dragons for crazy amounts of money. It's going to be disgusting. These things, you camping blue drags, just boom, 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 boom. You're going to be dude, this thing is a monster. I love it. I love it a lot. I think this is dope. And the fact that it's not better than the Hasta flat means it's like a niche item that it kind of works. I don't want to call it a twisted bow because it's not a twisted bow, but it works in that idea of content that is at a certain tier because of its stat line that gives a special effect that makes it stronger. Right? I love that. I personally love that methodology, and I think it's really strong for the game. I think it prevents a lot of power creep, like filling out these. I'll call it niche. Obviously, the T-bow isn't really niche; it's really just strong. But these quote-unquote niche uses that are super, super fun to interact with and make the game so much more flavorful. I love it. I love it a lot. Additionally, some of the monsters will have a chance. These monsters will have a chance to drop dragon knives and dragon throne axes. You know, the throne axes from Chambers of Zarek and the new knives that are really cool. They're ranged DDS. So I think it's going to be a lot cooler to see what they can do with the PvP game, right? Knives are already a staple for most purists and stuff, throwing new rune knives. So why not throw some dragon knives? Throw 2 at once if you want. You know, it's going to be cool. It's going to be cool. It's going to change the game a little bit. And there's going to be a lot of cool new builds with that Hasta and these knives. It's going to be dope. Can't wait. So the Hydra is also going to have these new bones. There's going to be several new bones. So we have worm bones. 30 XP, you have Drake Bones, 60 XP, and Hydra Bones that are 90. Pretty cool. Just, more Prayer Bones. Getting away from the big Slayer update, we have something called the Aerial Fishing update, which is really dope. I really like it a lot. It's if you ever did falconry for your hunter training, it's that, but with fishing and hunter, which is really cool. I like it. It's You're going to be on the lake. There's a lake between, the Shazen House and the Kebos Lowlands called Lake Mulch. Nope. Again, not going to try the pronunciation game. Crazy stuff. You're going to have a whole bunch of options. You're going to be catching some fish. You're going to be getting some hunter XP. You're also going to get these pearls, which are like, if you ever did, this is real dead content, me trying to bring up this. If you ever did the mermaid tiers underwater on Fossil Island, it's going to work like that. But more commonly, and I think it's the worst comparison, but it's going to actually, ring a few bells in people's heads. Marks of Grace. It's kind of like that. You get these items from, catching a fish, and you trade them in for stuff. You're going to get equipable fishing rods, cool stuff like that, as well as a fish sack for 1,000 pearls. That might be just cosmetic. There's a little piece of me that hopes it's kind of like a coal bag, but for fish. Who knows? It's gonna be cool. It's gonna be cool. Pretty much just falconry for fishing and hunter, which is cool. I like it. Now here's another big piece of the puzzle when it comes to why this update is so large. we are getting a new achievement diary. That comes with its new rewards, a new blessing, as well as new things to do on Zaya. New effects that will greatly affect Zaya. If you look at it, here's the list of requirements. Most notably, you're going to have Fairy Tale and Dream Mentor, as well as all 5 of the house quests, 2 of which are releasing with this update. 2 more of those novice quests, like what was it, the Queen of Thieves and that kind of line. So for Love of Kenj and Arceus. So 2 new quests. Those are pretty novice level stuff, but you know, a little bit of quest requirements, as well as most notably 95 Slayer. You can find it online. They spoiled it, but it's going to be killing a Hydra for the 95 Slayer. 90 woodcutting is for the redwoods in the woodcutting guild. You're going to have to do that. 90 magic is for creating an Apatal teleport tab with the Arceus spellbook. Pretty cool. 85 farming is for growing those Celestara trees, whatever I called them, and then, you know, making your own battle styles with them. 77 rune crafting is, you know, your bloods. 82 fishing, catching and cooking an anglerfish with 84 cooking. Yeah, you know, that kind of stuff. That so pretty much, you know, run-of-the-mill achievement diary things, but this time with a little bit lower of a rune crafting requirement, which I thoroughly enjoy. But let's look at the rewards a little bit in more depth. So first of all, you're going to get Rada's Blessing, is what it's called. It's a new blessing slot, kind of like your Unholy Blessing and stuff like that. At Easy Diary, it's not going to give any bonus, but it's going to give you a couple daily teleports to the Kebos Woodlands, or Karund Woodlands, not Kebos, and a 2% chance to catch 2 fish at once. I am not certain if that applies to all fishing or just the aerial fishing, but if it's all fishing, then that's pretty dang cool. I'm going to just catch me at monkfish, boys. I'm getting food from my Iron Man. As well as, you know, your achievement diary. And for your peers out there, you're going to have half the access cost to the Crabclaw Island. Still going to be just as populated, but, you know, cool stuff. As well as a double drop rate for Zarek's Talisman. Good. That's a pretty healthy Easy Diary, if I do say so myself. Medium is going to give you 1 prayer bonus when you're wearing that blessing. So it's the same as any other blessing. Cool stuff. 5 daily teleports and a 4% chance to catch 2 fish, as well as free access to the Crabclaw Island. And here's a cool one: you're going to get a 5% chance to mine 2 essence blocks when you're mining at the essence deposits in Arceus when you're doing blood runes and stuff like that, which is very cool. That's going to be very useful. As well as you're going to get your kind of free thing. Your daily is the 20 free dynamite for Blast Mine, which is honestly alright. I don't mind it. It's pretty cool. Hard Diary is where you get some cool stuff, as most hard diaries are. You're going to get unlimited teleports to the Karund Woodland, as well as 3 daily teleports to Brimstone. Now, this is going to be the best transport method to get to the Alchemical Hydra and to get to Konar, which is really, really valuable, in my opinion, as well as a 6% chance to catch 2 fish. You're also going to get the ability to combine your Slayer helmet. You know how you combine your Slayer helmet with the cool, like, dark claws and stuff and make cool colors? You're going to be able to combine it with the Shazen Helm 5, which I'm calling, and this is what most people are calling, the Slazen helmet, which is going to be amazing when you get those Lizardmen tasks and you're trying to get your Dragon Warhammer. It's going to be so cool. It's going to be disgusting, actually. You get a 5% chance to get more herbs from the Hosidius farming patch. Or, Hosidius and Farming Guild herb patches. That's cool. 40 free dynamite in the rewards from the previous, so yeah. And then the elite. Now, this is pretty cool. This is really cool, actually. So, it's going to give you +2 prayer bonus. That's best in slot. That's inarguably best in slot when you're wearing a blessing. Like, that's it. That's it. Best in slot. Unlimited teleports to the Karund Woodland, and unlimited teleports to Brimstone. Dude, you know how people spend 45k to skip the Fairy Ring shortcut on Zulrah? Yeah, if you do this elite, you get to skip the Fairy Ring shortcut for the Alchemical Hydra. It's going to be delicious. Delicious, delicious, delicious. As well as getting 20 points from the Slayer task from Konar instead of 18. As well as a 10% chance of reduced burning chance from the City Cook Kitchens, which is like you hardly burn things there anyways, but now it's even better. 80 free dynamite, pretty cool, and 10% more blood runes from blood rune crafting. 10%, no additional XP obviously, but 10%. Normally you get like 212, I believe, is the regular inventory for like efficient blood runes. 10% more. That's what, 30 something. That's a lot of, that's a big difference. At 300 of blood rune, that's what, 3 times 20? That's pretty good. Pretty good stuff from blood rune crafting. Pretty good stuff. Then there's here are the quests, you know, your Forsaken Tower of Cent of Arceus, like I said. And that's about it. I know it was a lot. I know it was a ton of information. I'm glad you guys sat through and listened to me ramble on about cool pixel game updates for who knows how long this video is going to be. But I appreciate you sticking with me, guys, and I hope I could, you know, I wouldn't call it a TLDR because I pretty much did read just it. But at least you got to hear a voice saying these things instead of having to search for the information yourself. So, thank you guys, and I'll see you next time.